I'll never get used to this.
The dream for me was, everybody's talked about reboots. For me, the show that I want to make is inspired by the book. I feel like they missed an opportunity to make a great Wonder Years that's set in the 90s. I just want to be a conduit to talk about all the things in the 90s and what my childhood was like. For any reboot effort, going onto a show that was never intended for me to be the star of, making it last for 9 years, growing up on a studio lot and in public school at the same time, that to me was the greater story that needed to be told for today.
Raise your hand if you're sure that you knew that any reboot that Jaleel's talking about, he gonna be talking about himself. It's so mind-boggling to me. But we got more. He really, really breaks it down. I got it for you right here.
Myra Monkhouse's love for Steveurkel was so everlasting. I can more easily envision Myra having married Steve and Laura being the one to return to their neighborhood with a child from a previous life partner. Steve is organically pulled back into Laura's life as a friend.
Oh my, what is Steveurkel doing today? Steveurkel is working for Bill Gates. I don't know. He's inventing something somewhere, I will say that. And he probably has a picture of Laura on his desk. I do know that. You know, for TV's sake, yeah, Steve married Laura.
A recap of what he said in case you didn't, pick it up. What he basically said is he was offered a reboot, of him and Laura, and that they would have a son. They would be just like him, right? And so Jaleel turned that down because he doesn't think it's what culture wants today. And he thinks a better idea, if the late, great Michelle Thomas were here, it would be them being married, and it would be Laura coming back, having a child by a previous relationship, and now she's trying to be all buddy and friends, right? And I'm just thinking, like, where does this dude? I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm a Christian, but I want to know. I want to know whose butt this came out of, because it didn't come out of the brain, baby. Okay, it came out of the butt. Okay, like, this makes no sense. And here's the thing. This is what Jaleel said. No, because, he says this a lot. 90s, what we did in the 90s, that ain't gonna work no more. What we did in the 90s, that ain't gonna work. That's why it's Stephen Laura. And it's like, he's saying a lot of the stuff that we got away with now won't work. And I'm like, bruh, do you realize you just reversed this whole entire storyline? You just reversed the whole entire storyline. Then he says, okay, so remember, Steve and Laura are married, right? So do they get a divorce? Like, okay, and while you were married to Laura, are you telling me that you had no babies by her? So, but now you're gonna say that Laura comes back from a child from a previous relationship, bro? No, you know that's your baby, bro. Bro, you know that's your baby. What you talking about? Steve and Laura was a love story that we got to watch build and grow and evolve, and it turned into something, just something so beautiful. How do you go back and do this? Sound like to me, Steveurkel abandoned his wife and his kids. That's what it sounded like to me. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Because how else do you explain it? Now, I'll say this. The way that Michelle can work into it is you have Steve and Laura, they're married, they got their 2-3 kids that they wanted. They've been married about 10, 12, 15 years. As you know, life starts getting hard, things start happening. It's everything he wants. He's married to the woman he's loved all his life. They got beautiful children, but they still have issues. And say, here comes Myra knocking, right? And has to deal with the temptation, right? In the tenderness of Steve and Laura's marriage, but he has to deal with the temptation of a former flame, right? And so now she's coming in, creating these issues and making it look like the grass is greener on the other side, and Steve has to figure out who is important. Is he willing to throw away his wife and his kids for a temporary moment, right? Because we know it always gets easier later. We know, the sun does come out again. You know what I'm saying? I can see a scenario like that, where they're married. Well, Steve and Laura are actually married, and Myra comes in trying to mess up stuff. But for Myra and Steve to be married, that just does not make any type of sense whatsoever. You're literally reversing everything. Just a little poo-poo, just a little poo-pooing all over what Kelly did as Laura Winslow and what they stand for, what they are as Steve and Laura.
Conceived the show. They went to Milboy at ABC and they said, all right, we need a black family show. So they did the tried and true thing. Pick a character off an existing show. Let's do the spinoff. So they went to Jo Marie, and she was the elevator operator on Perfect Strangers. So they get Reginald Vell Johnson from Die Hard, right? And so they find Darius McCrary. Hey, Thelma Hopkins. Now we got it. Now throw them all on the set. And now for the big cherry on top, you give them all white writers who don't understand much about black nuanced comedy at all.
Point out again. Do you notice he named everybody but Kelly? He named Reggie, Jo Marie, Darius, Thelma Hopkins, because these were the first one. He did not. There's no mention. Again, I just want to point this out. There's no mention of the daughter. There's no mention. And of course we know Jamie, but we know he's not going to mention Jamie anyway. But remember what Jaleel said. Oh no, Kelly's like a sister, right? Okay. Once again, doesn't mention Laura Winslow. Doesn't mention Kelly at all. And I always find it interesting because there's always these guys that marry these white women, but it seems like they have a problem with all the other white people but the white women that they marry. It just, black power, black power. Always got something to say, always complaining about white people, but then gonna marry. Okay, all right. Maybe he thinks now today that Michelle would be the more hit person over Kelly. Why do I say that? Well, because he's put that energy out, guys. Whenever it comes to the interviews, whenever it comes to any of this type of things, when it comes to talking about Steve and Laura and talking about what Kelly did, he poo-poo. He does not mention her. He does not talk about her. He does not acknowledge Steve and Laura. He only talks about Michelle. So he probably put that energy out there, and that's the energy coming back to him. He's reading the room. He's reading the people. The people are coming up talking to him like, we didn't like Steve and Laura. We like Steve. So now he's signing off on that. Oh, and I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that Michelle was lighter than Kelly. I'm sure it has nothing to do with that. No. You saw earlier, he said, yeah, Steve and Laura together. Yeah, Steve and Laura got married. You know what I'm saying? I've been telling you, Jaleel wants to erase and try to play our minds and erase what actually happened. It baffles my mind.
That we haven't even seen before. He's inventing teleportation devices. He loves cheese and polka, but most importantly, he's in love with the girl next door. And the girl next door doesn't give him the time of day, but lucky for this kid, the girl next door has a Chicago cop father with a heart of gold. So this clumsy kid, no matter how much he destroys their home, he's still welcome back.
I'm trying to tell y'all, do y'all see how he's trying to change the storyline and trying to change what Family Matters represented? Do you see him doing this? Carl was more mean to Steve than Laura was. But I'm trying to tell you, he's trying to erase all of that. He's trying to erase it. It's crazy to me.
And now this is junk. You know, I hate that kid. I wish he would just move away and never come back. Yeah.
Now look, I'm just pointing this out because, Jaleel tried to give the thing like, no, and Carl saved me and whatever I did, he accepted me and, Laura just rejected me and all this. But I want to just ask the question, has she ever said that she hated Steve? When has Laura actually said, I hate you? She's never said that to Steve.
But one of those friendships could have been saved if Carl here, had only found it in his heart to say I'm sorry.
All the time, Steve and Carl are going at each other. Okay.
Yes, man. I built these shelves 15 years ago with my own 2 hands.
Perhaps you should have used someone else's hands.
Get out.
Now, Carl.
Get out. I want you out of my life and stay out. Go home.
Now, Carl,
Go home. And don't you ever come back.
Oh, so that means for good. So not only the times that Carl kicked Steve out, but the time he told him, don't ever come back. Okay.
What did you say?
Oh, you heard me. Don't ever come back.
So you see here all the times Carl kicked Steve out, told him to get out of his life, don't ever want to see you, I hate you, all this other type of stuff. But Jaleel always tries to demonize Laura like she was, just treated him so much worse than everybody else. And actually she didn't. She treated him much better than Carl and Eddie. You know what I'm saying? But Jaleel's not going to tell you that because he has an agenda. He's on a mission. You know what I'm saying? And it's not a good one. If you can't tell, he's trying to erase Laura Winslow from our minds so he can, do his version of a reboot, without us asking, where's Laura? Where's Laura? Where's Laura? That's what he's trying to do. And something else I find very interesting is Jaleel always says he's a voice, with, playing Steveurkel, that he's a voice basically for the voiceless. He's a voice for those that feel underestimated, those that feel unappreciated, a voice for those that feel invisible. And isn't it interesting that in his real life, this is how he is. In his real life, this is what he's doing to Kelly, right? He's being ungrateful to where her character underestimated, underappreciated, taken for granted, almost invisible. Jaleel White has worked to make Laura Winslow almost invisible, right? It's so crazy to me, the disrespect. It's like, why is he acting like Laura from the streets? You know what I'm saying? Why is he acting like Laura from the streets? Or that he threw her to the streets? You know what I'm saying? Either way. And it's like, how can Laura Winslow be from the streets when she ain't been with nobody but Urkel? You know what I'm saying? How can Laura be from the streets when she had goals to be a lawyer and became a lawyer? She's successful. So why are you treating her like she from the streets? Cool. That's what his book is about, right? He basically said, I want my book to become a series or a movie one day, right? And that is the reboot. That's what he talks about. That's the reboot that we all, apparently, we all supposed to want and need, okay? Apparently. But here's how they both can work, guys. You can go and have a reboot or a mini reboot. Remember what Steve said is that you're going to have the son. I actually think it's a good idea because you got to understand the Steveurkel of back then is not the Steveurkel of today. So how would Steveurkel's son deal with things today? You know what I'm saying? Is there some, do we see the same things? Does he have the same confidence as his dad? Yeah, he's smart and kind of nerdy, right? But there got to be a little bit of lore in him too, so there might be a little bit of, it could be quite interesting the way a young Steveurkel would look today, right? But you can have it be about, the Family Matters, and it's about the reboot. It's about Steve and Laura and their son, and you can go and put out 4 episodes, an hour and a half long, Netflix, Hulu, wherever, right? Amazon Prime, wherever. And that's it. There's nothing else. But now you can have that young guy be the spin-off guy for growing up Urkel. You can use that same guy. Show Big Bang Theory. We don't believe in Big Bang Theory. Jesus Christ is Lord. But the show Big Bang Theory, right? With the character Sheldon Cooper. We first saw him older. And then we got young Sheldon. Then they went back to show you how Sheldon got to where he was. And it's really, you can do both. I don't know why Jaleel isolates them to make it seem like you can only do one or the other. You can actually really do both. Leave it up to Urkel, leave it up to Jaleel White to continue to disrespect everything Kelly's done.
It was like, I don't think you can get a kid to the Emmys or the Golden Globes by playing Steveurkel Jr. because Laura and Steve had a kid. That's a Twitter pitch. It's corny. That's not that's
1,000 times. But let me give this example, right? Say, if you look at sports and you look at the NFL or the NBA, they're all running the same plays, right? What makes this play stand out different and this play stand out different? Who's running it? Who's running the play? Because you got Patrick Mahomes running that same play. It didn't work with this team and this quarterback, but it works for Patrick Mahomes. Well, you're running this play and it works for LeBron James, right? But guys, they're not running nothing secret. They're all running the same type of plays. You feel what I'm saying? So just because people on Twitter have this idea in their mind, Twitter doesn't mean they can bring it to pass, and doesn't mean that they can put their stamp on it like this person, and this person. Mention the fact that maybe a lot of people are tweeting it like that because it's what they want to see, Jaleel. Put it together. He said it's about the people. Is it really about the people? Because the people are showing you what they want. If you're saying, I've seen it a million times with Steve and Laura, they're married and their son. Maybe that's because that's what people want to see. That was my mind, that he has such phenomenal chemistry with Kelly that he doesn't want to, revisit that and like, what can we do today? Like, can we still do that? Can we pull that off? What's also so baffling about it is you go back and look, Jaleel has not had anywhere near the chemistry with anybody else than he has with Kelly. Anybody. Just go check. Just go look. Be gritty. Okay, I've been trying to tell you guys what it is. He's trying to downplay what Kelly did as Laura Winslow to upgrade, if you will, what Michelle did as Myra Muckhouse. I got a question. Does Jaleel recognize that Kelly was a Winslow? And not only was Kelly a Winslow, Kelly was Laura Winslow. Like, does he not recognize how popular, like, Laura Winslow was with the guys? And when I mean guys, I'm talking about older guys and young guys. I've seen older men and younger men drooling over Laura. I just like, how delusional can you be? Like, I get it. Michelle was probably bigger in Jaleel's heart than Kelly was. And I completely respect that, right? Off screen and everything. Completely respect that. But Michelle was not bigger than Kelly on the show. Like, she was not bigger than her, no matter how much he wants to remix it.
I had a crush on you, you know what I'm saying? But that's ruined now. Big shout out to your husband, Hannibal. God bless you. Yeah, that's too late for that now. Anyway.
Like, does he not get how much guys were in love with Laura and how much we wanted to be her? Like, does he not recognize that? Kelly was Laura Winslow. Laura Winslow is an icon. How Jaleel sees Laura Winslow. Even used his good brain that God gave him to at least put her with Stefan. I mean, can you at least give her Stefan? Why couldn't he have Laura come back? Yeah, Laura comes back from her job and she's a big top lawyer. She makes lots of money. She's very successful. Why does it gotta sound like she come back being broke with a baby? Why you did not have to have Laura sitting out in the cold broke with a baby? So you might as well just say, Kelly, we don't want you on the show. We don't need you. We don't want you. We've outgrown you. Okay, you're not what's cool now. We're what's cool now in here. If Michelle was here, this is probably the stuff that Jaleel talks about in his dreams and goes and tells everybody else to change the narrative. Probably smiling on Kelly's face, but all the time he want to take her place. Them backstabbers. I'm not saying that Jaleel does not have a right to his opinion on how he would want something to be and all that. Like, that's fine.
Your character and Quinta's character, it's a little thing going on. But how do you feel about, the relationship progressing with y'all characters?
I don't necessarily want to see them together. I don't think that we see displays of platonic love between two people often, actively loving each other where they are. That I like to see more. People underestimate Quinta as an actor. The work that I watch her do day in and day out deserve to be recognized.
Heavily disappointed with was the final, and I guess it's because maybe you all didn't know that it was the last season. I kind of wanted Family Matters to end a certain way, and like maybe with you and Laura getting married.
Michelle Thomas was such a huge part of the show for me that,
I would have had you marry her.
You see what I'm saying?
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong.
Do y'all see what I'm saying? Look at Tyler James Williams said. He first said, hey man, y'all need to recognize Quinta as an actress because she does so many different things, but she's bomb as an actress. But also in the same, flip the token around, he also did say that he does not want to see them in a relationship. He wants to see them in a friendship, right? So this is what I'm talking about, where they have their opinion. But do you notice, guys, one is not like the other? Do you notice with Tyler James Williams? Do you notice the honor that he showed, the support that he showed? Very different than Jaleel White. Versus, did you see what Jaleel did? Didn't even acknowledge Kelly, did not even acknowledge Steve and Laura, you know what I'm saying, and jumps right into Michelle. And he does that so often. And that is the problem. That is the biggest problem. You can do both. You can say, no, I don't want to do that, and honor the person at the same time. You can do that. Tyler just showed us. You can do it. Here's the other problem that I have. When it comes to their relationship as Steve and Laura, Kelly was doing all the heavy lifting. That was like probably what? I'm going to say 65. Kelly was probably doing 65 of it. She was the one that had the chemistry, the chemistry kisses, the warmth. She was providing all of that. Just check this out.
That's very cool.
You got to check this out, y'all. You got to check this out. This is what I'm talking about. Got to pause it right here because I wanted to show you, like, I don't know what, maybe Kelly was having one of them days. It's one of them days, but she was not into this at all. And it makes me wonder because I've never seen Kelly flake out on any scene. So it makes me wonder if this is not what was supposed to, because y'all can say she ain't into it, right? And it actually gets worse. And why am I talking about it? Because I'm talking about the chemistry that Kelly brought to this, whether it's Stefan or Steve. That's why I said she is doing the heavy lifting and all these different things. And I think in this situation, I don't think it called for this, and maybe it caught her off guard. And Jaleel was, DTMing. I think, okay, if we just look at his face, he looked determined. Let's go, baby, let's go. We got plans tonight. But look at her face. Okay, it actually gets worse. Look at it. Just look. Kelly's trying. She's trying. This is why I feel like the cameraman should have changed the. Like, you just should have moved the camera because just look at Kelly's face. Well, again, let's look at it. Jaleel trying to go in. If you look at Kelly's mouth, don't look like, again, that she's ready for her tonsils to be touched at all. Look at her cheekbones. They just look tight. Okay, they just like tight. And maybe possibly Jaleel went a little bit overboard, but this is the point that I'm making. The relationship aspect of it is Kelly. Kelly's the one that brings the skill and the warmth and all that. And you're going to see, let's just check this out here. So look at the difference. Now look at the difference. Look at the difference. I don't think Kelly has a problem with kissing Jaleel like this, but I don't think like it's part of the scene, not part. If it's not part of the scene, she ain't trying to do it. But you see, if it's part of the scene, as we know, this is supposed to be the humdinger of kisses, which it is. Brings this. This is what she brings to the table when it comes to the chemistry and all that. Y'all don't realize that because a lot of y'all look at it and think it's Steveurkel. No, it's Kelly. It is Kelly. That's why he didn't have the same chemistry with any other woman on the show or any other woman after the show. I'm just saying, just keeping it real. Which one did you watch that seemed more aesthetically pleasing? Like, just being real about it. I think this is what the scene required. So Kelly delivered, baby.
Stage, or when I'm doing a character in a movie or a TV show, or I know that I'm showcasing something that somebody's going to connect to, that somebody is going to feel, because that's what films and TV shows did for me. When they represented me and what I was going through, I felt heard, I felt seen, and I felt so much less alone.
And this is what this dude don't get. That is what Kelly did for a lot of us. What Kiki just said there is what Kelly did for a lot of us, playing that incredible character of Laura Winslow. She gave us something to aspire to. She gave us something to look up to. She gave us somebody to look to. Doesn't care necessarily about Kelly. I'm not necessarily saying that. Like, maybe they talk every now and then, but I don't see it in as far as the working part of it. And you don't want to show honor to somebody that was so significant. Now what happens? Everybody's running with that narrative. Everybody's making these mean articles and writing these mean articles about Kelly disrespecting Laura, and he's every bit a part of that. The issue is the disregard, the disrespect that he continues to show the character of Laura Winslow, and through that, Kelly. You know what I'm saying? As much as he tries to say, oh, we're friends, or like all this other type of stuff. And I would just wonder if Jaleel would actually sit down and really just sit back and watch Family Matters in its entirety. There's no way that he will not come away from this show like, oh, wow, I didn't realize Laura did all that. You know, the times when Laura, would hang out with Steve, when nobody else would hang out with Steve, when Laura was checking for Steve, when nobody else was checking for Steve. You know what I'm saying? Not even his own parents. You know, Laura would go and check her own brother on behalf of this man. And I'm thinking that Jaleel is forgetting that. He's forgetting the good things about Laura Winslow, besides her beauty and her spunk and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Philippians 4:8, it says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, to think on these things. And that's what I'm saying, where I want to encourage, your situation, people you may interact with, that is the greater character, is the one that can find the good, the diamond in the rough, if you will, the one that focuses on the best. And that's even either with yourself, a situation, what it may be. Because I do think God put this in the Bible because he knew that we are not naturally like this. He knew we're going to not naturally think on what is true, and we're not going to naturally think on what is honorable, or naturally think on what is just or pure. We have to set our mind to do that, right? Set our minds to do that. And so that's what we need to do. A lot of times, again, like I said, you see what Jaleel White's doing. He's a bad example, focusing on the negative things about Laura Winslow and not focusing on the positive. And as a culture, we do that. and we focus on those right things, then you're going to start seeing those right things, you know, in other people. And especially, you will see those right, beautiful things that God has placed on the inside of you. You know what I'm saying? I just think that Jaleel is not remembering the positive things, the beautiful things, the loving things, the caring thing, the warm things about Laura Winslow. And like I said, I think if he were to sit down and actually watch it, he would no longer have an argument. Because like I said, the same thing that you want to go and be upset with Laura Winslow about, you can also be upset with Myra about. Because Myra did the same thing, just at different times. Laura rejected him when he was younger. Myra rejected him when he was older. Like, what are we doing here? Thinking about this video, Jaleel can go do whatever he wants with whatever he wants. I probably won't watch if the rest of the cast is not there. I'm saying it was about the Winslows, guys. It was about the Winslows too. And so if there's no Winslows, there's no me. You know what I'm saying? Favor Michelle over Kelly all day long. Do what you like, baby. You know, disrespect is not okay. Laura Winslow was something special to us, to me, to my friends, to us growing up. She's iconic. And that's all I'm saying. Love God, love people. May God bless you. May God keep you. Try to keep your mind on the good things, you know?
Take a risk, don't never take a break. Never.